Call to order, speaking of Iola Independent School District, Alex, would you lead the invocation?
Dear Heavenly Father, we ask that you watch over us tonight and help us to do the district's business, help us to make decisions that are best for all of the people in the district and especially for the children. We ask that you watch over all of the children and all of our staff and teachers and everybody as they come into these grounds every day, and we thank you for all the people that are here to protect them. We ask all this in your precious name. Amen.
All right. Nobody signed up to speak, so we'll move to item number 4, consideration of the consent agenda.
I did not have any emails or questions about anything in the consent agenda, Mr. Leach.
Okay.
Battery.
Is there not coming on?
You may just try.
Are they battery powered?
Yes, sir.
You're welcome to have mine.
I was just trying to find it out.
All right, if we didn't have any questions on item number 4, the consent agenda, entertain a motion. Motion by Tammy,
Second.
second by Alex. Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 5-0. Item 6-0, that's 6-0, it is right. Trying to count. Item number 5, campus and administrative reports.
Ms. Sajewski, ladies first.
Okay. So we have kindergarten and pre-K registration that will start on May 3rd. And we are doing a kindergarten roundup so that way we can, instead of them kind of trickling in over the summer, registering, since it's now all online, we want to get a big push so many kindergartners we're going to have for next year. Because we now currently have 3 teachers, so we just want to see how many kindergartners we're going to get. So that's going to happen May 5th and 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. And the kindergarten teachers came up with the idea. They are going to stay from 4 to 6 and invite parents to bring their kindergartners up. They'll go into the different classrooms. There'll be computers where they can register. I'll be making copies of all their information, and we'll have the bulldog out there, probably snow cones from PTO. And the kids get to explore the room while the teachers kind of get their beginning of the year testing, just to kind of, when we do make the class list, to evenly disperse them and make our groups before they start. So we're really excited about that. And I think that's kind of all we have going on right now after last week's exciting events. So, and also thank y'all for the donuts this morning and the cake. It was awesome. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Sajewski.
Good evening. We've got a lot of stuff coming up that we'll make you guys aware of. So our band concert, I kind of said this last, I think the last board meeting, but it's coming up pretty quick. I wanted to remind everybody. The band concert and the Iola Art Gallery are going to be on the same day. That'll be May 4th. The art gallery will start at 4:30, so what that's going to be is all of the students' artwork that they've been working on in art class will be set up in the cafeteria, and then the spring band concert will be in the gym, so that you can kind of go peruse the art before the band concert, and then go into the concert. Then after the concert, you can come out and go back around there. She is going to have different art that you can purchase, like copies of the kids' work. For you to purchase if you'd be interested. Theater they're doing the Wizard of Oz. They haven't nailed down if it's going to be on the 14th or 15th yet, but they will be doing 3 different broadcasts or plays of the Wizard of Oz, and that will start at 6:30 on one of those days. As soon as I get that finalized, I'll let you guys know. I want to let you guys know next year we have added cross country, UIL cheer, and robotics. So we've got people that are very interested in that, and that's going to be kind of adding a different dynamic to our school, so we're very excited about, especially bringing robotics. I think there's a lot of kids that haven't had that opportunity. Regular announcements. Fine Arts, these are my congratulations. We had some great, our kids were in that art show the other day. Blake did really well, Blake Blanchard, and then Bethany Futrell got first place. I think she won some sort of prize. I think she got first in the high school division, so that was very great. Our band, they scored in their contest, they scored Division II overall. So it goes from 1 to 4, where 1 is the best, 2 is above that. So they did 2 overall, and then a Division I on sight reading. So they're really improving in the band. FCCLA, they had their state championship last weekend, and Alyssa Costello got first place in job interview. So we only had Alyssa go, and she got first place in that. So we're very proud of her. UIL was this last week, and Chris Vasquez is advancing to the state championship in ready riding. So he did really well. We're very excited about the progress he's got. Softball, their last game is tonight, as you know. They've worked really hard this year. They've never given up. We're very proud of those girls. They're a very young team, so we're really proud and excited about what they have to come. Baseball has a doubleheader tomorrow night. They'll be playing Fayetteville, so it's different than what's on the schedule. I think Ms. Darby updated the schedule today online. But they will be playing a doubleheader tomorrow starting at 4 instead of 6:30. Then they have senior night for baseball is Friday the 30th, so I believe it's next Friday. JV will have a game this Friday, so that was just added to the schedule today for our district. Track and field, they did an excellent job. Our girls finished second in the area, and they're moving on. They'll be, as a team, they got second overall, and then we have a bunch of individuals, so I brought them all. Anna Barnett is moving on to regionals in discus, in high jump. Jenna McDougall is in discus. Ava Pointer in long jump, 100 hurdles, in the 4x100 relay. Jordan Dickerson is in the 4x4 relay. Lily Juarez in the 4x4 relay. Mackenzie Martindale in the 2 mile. Sophia Willis in discus. Riley Crenshaw in the 4x4 relay. Lindsay Gooch in high jump, 800 meter, 1 mile in the 4x4 relay. Zoe Campion, she qualified, but she'll be having surgery underneath. Yeah. Boys, Case Kramer in long jump, 100 meter and 400 meter. Colby Shashelski in the 110 hurdles. Spencer Quinlan in shot put. Kel Gould in triple jump. And Wesley Alexander in the 300 hurdles. So got a lot of great things, a lot of people moving on to the regional track meet, and we're very proud of them. I think that's all my announcements. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fowler. Lots of great things going on there. I just have a few things in the Superintendent Report. We met with Grimes County Sheriff's Department Friday and last week. When I say we, Ms. Sajewski, Mr. Fowler, Deputy Rudel, and myself all went over. Anderson Shiro allowed us to meet in their conference room. But we met with Grimes County Sheriff's Department, DPS, Brazos County Sheriff's Department, Texas A&M University, law enforcement, all those agencies that had responded over here to protect our district Thursday the 9th. I think we spent 2.5, 3 hours, maybe even longer than 3 hours debriefing with them. It was a very productive meeting for all parties involved, and allowed us to talk as a school district with law enforcement just about the things that happened that went well and things that we can improve on. So we were excited to have that meeting, and like I said, it benefited everyone that was there. We had also invited Mr. Bean, Superintendent Anderson, Mr. Boyce from Richards, Dr. Music from Navasota, so they could come hear things from the school district perspective. And I had another superintendent call me to ask if we could sit down this summer and talk about what occurred for our district so that they could grow from our experience. So God blessed us in that situation, and everyone was safe here, and thanks to all those law enforcement that responded that day. I have monthly Region 6 superintendent meeting tomorrow, Wednesday of this week. We're getting into all the legislative updates that could be coming down with the new legislative session. So I'll do my best to keep you guys apprised of that. And then, as we get into the fall, we'll have our required legislative trainings for the board. So, and then Mr. Fowler mentioned this, just reminder board members that banquet season starts next week, with band banquet being Thursday, April 29th. And we go from there. Then I know the month of May is full Also a reminder that our state champion volleyball team is headed to Austin on that same day on the 29th to be recognized by Representative Lamont. So excited about that and excited for those girls. And that's all I have for the superintendent report.
Item number 6, consideration of approving of parking lot repairs.
This is something we've been talking about for a while. I thank Mr. Jordan for being here this evening to speak to this. If you guys have any questions about what's going on, that's why we have him here. Is there anything you just want to mention, Mr. Jordan?
No, sir, really, it's time to do it, to save our parking lot, plus it'll just benefit the school.
Sure.
So,
What we've talked about a couple meetings for I don't know how many months now, that we had budgeted a certain amount of money in this year's budget to repair the parking lot. As we've had people come out and look at it to repair it, we've learned that we need to, I think it's called reseal the parking lot. Otherwise, we're just going to continue to have those big potholes year after year. And so that's why we're asking the board approval. Was there 1 or 2 bids in here?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask you. Which one does he suggest?
Yeah, Mr. Jordan, which one of these bids would you recommend you feel the most, which group you feel the most comfortable working with?
Actually, Marathon
Mm-hmm.
is my recommendation.
Their bid was more thorough.
Yes. So the all-in price there is on their second bid, page of their bid, the $80,889.
Yes, sir. That is correct.
So they're fixing the big pothole, sealing the whole thing, and then restriping it?
They're actually taking from basically the concession stand, training room, the building there, all the way up to the front entrance, and redoing all of that because it's starting to all alligator, starting cracks. So they'll be resurfacing that with the asphalt. New base, asphalt, and then they'll come back and do the complete seal of all the parking lot and then restripe.
And that's resealing like all the way out to the ag facility?
The whole
thing?
parking
Okay.
lot, yes, ma'am.
And you're saying we should reseal this how often? I know
They recommend every 5 years.
every 5 years, and we haven't been, right?
No, sir.
So if we do this every 5 years, it won't be this amount. We
No.
just,
No, sir.
So I'm sorry, go ahead.
I think the resealing and restriping is basically, and that is a double coat seal, would be around $40,000.
right.
When you say ag, it's going all the way to the barn?
It will not include the gravel lot in the ag barn, but it will go all the way up to the ag barn. There's a curve there that divides them. It'll go on the visitor side. Everything out there that is asphalt now will be taken care of. That includes the side road going out to 108, visitor's parking lot, and then the whole parking lot itself. But yes, all the way to the ag barn.
And how long did they say this process would take?
They will do it in stages so that we can keep traffic flowing.
Right.
Basically, they want to do it in 4 stages. And he said, weather permitting, once they start, if in fact they started by May 1st, no more than 4 weeks, probably less, depending on the weather.
So they would start working on this May 1 instead of June 1?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
That way we have it all done before
Yes, sir.
any of the athletics starts out there.
So we're not thinking graduation on the football field?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
Our current plan is to have graduation in the gym like we have in the past.
Just want to make sure that's not-
And they're gonna do a better job than the folks doing 244?
These people have been around quite a while. They have a very impressive resume. So yes, sir, I believe so.
So has the state.
Yeah, the state's been around a long time.
Okay, do you
When
need
they
any
came out
questions?
to look at it, they sent a full-fledged crew. They just didn't kind of go over it, they sent a full-fledged crew.
I mean, their proposal was
So we have the money budgeted for this?
We have half of it
Half of
budgeted,
it.
and the other half, if we need to make a budget amendment, would come from our assigned fund balance in capital improvements.
I think we had allotted, what, like 25,000 or so, wasn't that around what that was, if I remember correctly,
From fund balance?
for designated? I think we had
I
designated.
think it was 20 or 25.
I don't remember,
And
and,
budgeted for that.
yeah, I want to say we budgeted more than that in the regular budget, so.
I think I got it here.
Any other questions for Mr. Jordan?
Motion that we,
Okay, motion by Tammy to approve the bid from Marathon Solutions. I'll second. Any other discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 7, consideration of employment of school auditor for 2021, 2022.
That should be, yes, sir. That was a typo. It should be 21, 22. Did not catch that. I apologize. So what you have in your packet, board members, is the letter of engagement with Ashley and Road, who's done our audit 2 years now, I believe. Anyway, Miss Tim, our business manager, has asked that we remain with Ashley and Road. They've been, it's been easy to work with them, great communication back and forth, which was an issue with our last firm that we were working with. So just ask the board approve the employment of Ashley and Road to provide the audit services for the year ending in August 2022.
2022.
Right?
yes.
We've already
This
approved
is,
them for this year.
yes. So again, a typo, I apologize.
Okay. Now question.
Yes, sir. You can see there was a $500 increase in their service fee.
Okay, entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Motion by Red,
I'll second.
second by Alec, open for discussion. Any discussion? No discussion, those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 8, consideration of purchase of high school gym bleachers.
We started this conversation, I believe, last board meeting. You had approved the gym floor being redone and bleachers. Someone had a question about stadium type seats in the bleachers. So we had Mr. Jordan contact that company, get some more prices for us, some numbers. Mr. Jordan, anything you want to add to this? I know, go ahead. I'm going to turn the floor over to you. You're more knowledgeable about it.
With the stadium seating, it's a great idea. The problem would be that with the actual stadium seats, they propose the center section, which would be a total of 80 seats. That was with basically, they have to do it in a complete section. We had the $14,000 credit, so I was to see how many seats that we could get for that amount of money. And actually, it ended up being a little bit more than that. I think it was an extra $6,000 to get those 80 seats. The problem, though, with that is by putting the stadium seats, it's a different fold-up mechanism. The seats are wider. So if we were to do the stadium seats, we would end up with 168 seats on the home side versus by staying with the standard bench seats, which would be 298.
Oh, wow.
So that's quite a difference as far as capacity.
So that is why we brought it to the board, and your wish is our command. Speaking from the superintendent's perspective, I think one of the issues we've been concerned about in our current gym is capacity. I think we would all like to sit in those comfortable stadium-style seats, but we decrease our capacity significantly.
Less than what we have now.
Yes.
And there would end up being more seats on the visitor side than the.
Yes, by going with the standard, we did increase, we are lengthening those bleachers. We are gaining, I believe it's about 70 seats. But it would not, it's not helping the home side with the
Right.
stadium seats.
Are we still looking at the scoreboard being up in the stands or bringing that down to the floor?
It will end up being wireless,
Okay,
so it will not be attached to the actual bleachers anymore.
okay,
It'll be a box and you can use it anywhere in the gym.
okay. So we would still have to have that platform up there like we have now?
The-
We still have to have that box or?
No, the box that's in the bleachers, no ma'am, we won't have to have that anymore.
So we might gain a little bit of
It'll
seating?
be similar to that box, but it will not be tethered to any kind of cable. You can just carry it anywhere in the gym.
Where's the school board gonna go, do the school board, when they do the books and stuff? That's where the main source is for the school board, right?
Yes, it'll be the
So
same box.
is it Wi-Fi? Is it Wi-Fi?
Yes, it is Wi-Fi.
But, I mean, I think we would still have to have a place for them because the books have to be.
Yeah, you gotta have a place.
Yeah, there'll be a table.
No, I understand.
Right, yeah.
Table could go,
Yeah.
it wouldn't have to be.
It just doesn't have to be right there.
And who would do that? What machine, I mean, where are we gonna get that?
That comes from Spectrum as well.
Oh, it's.
We don't have to change out our scoreboards.
Okay.
They basically just put a small module in there, which turns it into wireless, and also puts a module in our control box, which in turn will make it wireless.
But you have to have a special code and everything to go through.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So you won't be able to sit there and do it on your phone.
Right. I know that because we have one.
Right.
Yeah.
I do have a question. Is the gym, is it full to capacity other than anything than graduation? For games, is it full to capacity?
Assemblies.
Some.
Very close.
Yeah.
Very
Some of
close.
the basketball games, these
Basketball,
volleyball games. The
volleyball,
home team is
yes,
usually
ma'am.
slammed, and then now with the last year with COVID and stuff, you can't sit. Some of the home team, you sit in that corner up there on the visitor side, but now with the virus last year, you couldn't even sit over there, so, yeah.
It was full in a lot of situations.
Well, assemblies also.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Wasn't junior high getting full too in basketball?
Yeah, they
I
had,
thought I
the
heard you say
boys,
that.
they had such
I
a
didn't
big
make those,
class.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and the other thing is if we're widening that, you said we're widening the visitor side,
Yes.
is it going into where the concession stand normally is?
Yes, that's what it is.
Is that all being used now?
It will actually be used on the visitor side from just inside the doorway to the concrete runner at the other end.
And
So we'll have to relocate the
yeah.
concession stand.
will the home side be approximately the same?
The home side, the width will be the same, we're adding one more row.
Right.
And that's all we can add because of, in relations to the lines as far as the
Right.
court.
Right. Where are we thinking that we're gonna end up relocating the concession stand, like out in the hallway somewhere?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In the cafeteria,
Okay.
the lobby area.
So will we lose that door on the, I guess, north end of the home side?
No, sir. You're
So
not
it's not
losing,
quite that far?
you're not losing any doorway at all.
Okay.
We can we?
No.
No, we have to have that. Mhm. So I guess the question is, board, do we want to move forward with what you approved last week, was just moving forward with the regular bleachers? Or did we want to, I guess, tonight's decision was, did you want to add stadium seating? And if you don't, then just no action needs to be taken at a die.
I would love to have them too, but we just don't have the room
I
to.
don't think we do.
We gotta have more seats.
So it could die with lack of
Yeah,
motion.
so unless somebody wants to make a motion, item number 9 would die for lack of motion. A motion? Item number 10.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan, I appreciate you.
Consideration of approving the textbook adoption under Proclamation 2021. Proclamation 20 outlines adoption of pre-K systems.
So this year, pre-K curriculum is up for adoption, and as you know, it's just Ms. Wheaton is our only pre-K teacher, so there wasn't this big committee like we had in the big ELA adoption. So throughout the year, Ms. Wheaton was sent, and myself, we went through all the samples that were sent to us and looked through everything. Ms. Wheaton attended the Region 6 put on a showcase that had a bunch of different people there that she could ask questions to virtually as well. Also, Ms. Wheaton and I talked to several different places and people that have used these different programs, and she had samples to try out on the kids as well. But both her and I, she came to me and said that her #1 choice was Frog Street, which was on the list of things approved by the commissioner. It meets 100% of the Texas pre-K guidelines, and it meets the requirements for the high-quality pre-K program. And I agree, it was hands down my favorite too. So I would like to put that forth of the approval of Frog Street for our pre-K curriculum. And this is an 8-year adoption, so this price that you'll see on the next page is for 8 years for up to 22 students. And then anything else, any other items that we need that we're short on, we can order those at a discount price too if you have to order some supplementals for her. But that also includes Frog Street pre-K at home. So it comes with like an at-home learning thing for if students are even absent, just the stomach bug, or if they're going out of town, then they can easily access the curriculum there too. And also ABC Mouse, it comes with a subscription for all of our students there as well. And there's a conference that she wants to attend this summer called Splash, and adopting this will give us half off of that conference rate. And also, Kara Shive, our ECSE teacher, she is going to be using some of the materials as well, mainly just the planning stuff and the differentiated instructions that she does our 3-year-old program. And she'll also have some pre-Kers there next year, so she wants to stay in line with Ms. Wheaton and what she's doing in class and modifying it for her students that she'll have. And she actually won through the Region Center. She was submitted through the co-op, and she won free attendance to the Splash Conference too. So hopefully Ms. Wheaton and Ms. Shive can attend together. But that is my proposal. Ms. Wheaton and I recommend Frog Street.
Thank you, Mrs. Juicy.
Thank you.
Aside
Okay,
from,
ma'am. You want to discuss it, or you want to
Just need a
make a
motion.
motion
You need
to?
a motion, sure. Mr. Mallett makes a motion. I'll second. It's open for discussion.
aside from the Splash conference, this professional learning commitment plan, is that just extra learning for Mrs. Wheaton?
Yes, so it comes with a certain amount of hours that she can have someone either come out to the campus and do face-to-face professional development or virtually.
That's on there.
Any more further discussion, questions? Okay, those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 10, consideration of teacher incentive allotment.
I have a handout of our new survey. I did a staff meeting on April 6th where I just had the teachers that would be eligible for our teacher incentive allotment, which was 26 teachers. And we did an update on from the last meeting that we had with Mr. Martindale, and kind of went in depth. We were able to talk as a campus, in depth worries, the good sides, the cons, and people got to really talk with each other. And I just kind of stood back and nodded and said, yeah, I understand, or answered questions that I could. And then the teachers were given another survey after they'd gotten an update, and they were able to talk to each other. And they had, they did the survey today, so this time they were able to ask me questions from April 6th. Last couple weeks, they were able to ask me the questions, and I was able to find answers for them, and they talked to each other about it. So it was good discussions that they had. And this was only the teachers that are eligible, which was 26. So I think in the last survey that we had, I think that ended up, when I went back and looked at it and was asking some questions, I think there was some teachers that voted, or some people that voted that weren't classroom teachers that would have been eligible. So this survey was only sent to the 26 that would be. And so as you see, it's pretty much in the middle. We had one teacher not vote, so it's 13, it's pretty much split, 13 yes, 12 no. So, because we'll need a board vote to pass before we can continue. I've already submitted the application, but to continue, we'll need approval.
Can you give us what you heard in the staff meeting as far as pros and cons?
Well, one of the things that got brought up was Ms. Connor one of our kindergarten teachers had suggested, why don't we do this? Why don't we have, when we give M class, and she recommended that Ms. Pessel give the M class to all the kindergartners at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year, because that's where we measure the growth. And so that was one thing that came up. I think everybody really liked that suggestion, like, yeah, that'll work. And Ms. Connor's like, if there's something like, $20,000 extra a year riding on this, I don't want anyone to say anything about me that I'm, cheating or not being honest. So she goes, I would like kindergarten to have someone else, one person do all of the assessments. So okay. And so they just kind of talked about that. Some of the other fears I think that that I had heard was just I guess the air that comes with competition. They don't want to feel like they're in a competition, even though most of them are just going to be teaching like they've always taught, and they just don't like that extra bit of competition feeling from what I've heard. On the yeses, I heard things even as I was leaving today. The teachers just saying, this can only help our school. It can't hurt us. It's not like the money is going to get docked from your paycheck if you don't get one of the designations. It's just going to help teachers, and as well as 10% of that from each designation going to our school every year. So they were, some were like, yeah, let's go for it. We're all for it. We're all for it. And the other ones were like, well, I don't know. I don't really like to feel like I'm competing with anybody. And, so that's sort of saying.
To add to that, Ms. Sajewski, since we're talking about one designated person administering M class for kindergarten, we could do the same for first and second grade as well.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
So that takes that
yeah.
question out of the equation, or that part out of the equation. We just have one person that does all the M class testing.
Right, and right now Ms. Marr would be recommended to do the circle testing for pre-K.
For pre-K.
She already tests a lot of the kids and helps in Sweden, so she's very familiar with it.
Okay. The only other thing I wanted to add as well, board, just to remind you, again, our task as administration is to go out and recruit other people's amazing teachers. So if we recruit an amazing teacher from another district that has teacher incentive allotment, they've been designated those 5 years, when they come here, they will still receive the money from the state as well. So whether you approve this or not, we may have teachers that are receiving that money because they were designated in another district.
Let me ask you, was there any discussion that they might pull some teachers against each other or dissension, because one person gets it and the other one doesn't?
No, not that way. There wasn't a talk of jealousy. It was more personal. I don't like competition. I don't want to feel like I'm competing with her. But there was no out. I'm afraid that I'm not going to like my coworkers' conversations at our campus.
I believe last month when Mr. Fowler brought it up, that was a big discussion in the high school, and they voted no, majority no.
And I think, and we talked about at our staff meeting, because that had gotten brought up, like, what about the high school teachers? How come half of them didn't want to do it? And most of them, the eligible teachers, they didn't. And we talked a lot about the differences. So elementary is mostly classroom teachers, with the exceptions of PE and music. At the high school, it's a whole other ballgame. There's lots of electives. So the number of eligible teachers at secondary would have been a lot less. It would have left out the majority of their teachers, versus at the elementary, it includes the majority of our teachers. So
Mr. Fowler, you had 7 or 8. He had 8
Only 8
eligible
people would be
teachers
eligible
compared
to-
to 26 at the.
And it was
elementary.
50-50 on yours.
That was the original vote. It was,
Unanimous.
yeah, almost
Right,
unanimous
okay.
whenever
Not to do it.
whenever I went and met with each one of them,
Okay.
the 8.
I mean, this, to me, this is, well, let me ask this. The first vote that you took, where it was overwhelmingly yes, even if we factored out a few of them that weren't going to be eligible, had they, as a group, seen the entire plan at that point, or was it, this is the concept, oh yeah, I really want to?
yes, so that it was the overall, this is the concept, this is what it is, and then I wanted to have a follow-up to where we really could dig into it, because at that point, I knew more about it. We had several meetings with our consultant, so I felt like I was able to give a lot more information than what was initially presented, just because we knew more than the first time. So yeah, I think that had a lot to do with it too. It's like, yeah, let's pursue it and see where it goes. And as we're whittling down, it's okay, is it something we really want to do? Is it not? And then they had a lot of time to discuss with each other too, and hear other people's points of view.
So would it be fair to say that they, as a group, support the idea of anything that could pay more, but once they actually got into the details of the plan, it split.
Yes, and I think it made the ones that didn't vote for it, I think it made them also maybe feel a little bit better too, that, you know, that they were struggling with the fact that I don't want to cut into somebody else's paycheck, but I don't want to feel competitive either. So I think that was a big part of it.
But it is state funded.
Yeah.
Correct.
And they realize that if it were ever taken away, it's the state, not the district doing that.
Yes, we talked a lot about that. I said, you guys, I said, something y'all need to know is this could be taken away, you know, in the next couple of years. We may only have it for 1 year, and then that's it. And some of the comments I heard were, you know, while we have it, let's do it, you know, until they take it away. And yeah, so I think that was a big part of it.
And do we need to decide at this time whether we're gonna pay that like at the end of the year or by the month or?
I think we just need
I
to
think
say
it's a
it.
lump sum.
It's a lump sum. How our
It's
plans
a
are,
lump sum.
When we're paid, we pay them.
Yes.
Is
Oh,
that
well,
correct?
we'll pay,
Well,
we'll
we
pay
pay
it.
them and then the
Yeah,
state
well, that's
refunds
what I
us.
was
Before we
trying
get the
to-
money.
So we'll pay out, like, I think it ends up being like, like August 31st or right at the beginning of September, and the state reimburses us in September.
Yeah, I had trepidation about the plan before for all of the issues that we've discussed. And, I mean, this result doesn't do anything to make me change my mind. I still think that, you know, with it being this close, you know, I would prefer not to do it. I would prefer to say that we're going to do what we can to do more on regular pay across everybody. You know, if our teachers were, you know, our teachers are truly in it for the education. They were super concerned about all the pay that they would be teaching in College Station or Bryan. They'd make more. You know, I just don't think it's something that personally I would pursue.
Is there a way that you could evenly, I mean, like, you know, like everybody gets that money?
And that was something that I brought up too with our consultant, you know, tell me about schools that just take that money and spread it evenly with all teachers. And she said that she doesn't know of any schools that do that, because it kind of defeats the purpose of what the goal of it is, and that's to incentivize teachers. And I think that, you know, if it's being dispersed evenly, you know, how that teacher would feel who really earned that and had a lot of growth, and maybe somebody down the hall didn't, is getting paid the same as she did. And I think that would also, I think, breed a lot more hostility as well. Like, man, what's the use of me getting paid the same as everybody else? When down the road, they get 90%.
I think you can set different increments of, you know, rewards, you know, on that deal.
You can.
Yeah.
But this is what this is how we decided.
And
And I agree with what you said there, but I still think you could have, you know, some incentives, certain ones who, the growth, they get more than the one who didn't, but there's still something in everybody gets a part of it.
I get that, and I think we were trying to stay competitive with Anderson, how they do it, and some other surrounding
Yeah, I
districts.
understand.
Trying to do that. And another thing is, I think too that once we start, well, we had looked at saying, okay, well, let's not include the interventionists or special ed teachers in it. Let's give them a portion of, let's say, that a fourth grade teacher ended up getting a designation. We'll take some of that percentage and disperse it amongst the teachers that had a hand in that growth. And then we said, well, why don't we just include them in the whole thing so they could get the whole money instead of a share of it? So that was a direction that we decided to go in. And the ones I talked to about this were with Ms. Pessel and Ms. Brown, who are two of our interventionists that were on the elementary committee with me. So it's definitely new. It's uncharted water. And I think, as you can see, we have half that are ready to jump off and give me the money, and absolutely, and I'm ready for it.
And that's the problem I have, is I hate to tell that half no.
Right, that's where I'm having
And,
a problem.
because that's how I'm driven, so I'm driven financially, and everybody's not, teachers especially, so I understand, but to tell those 13 teachers that, no, I'm not gonna afford you that opportunity, I feel pretty bad about that. Also, what if we have a teacher that's looking at our district, and we're the only one around that's not offering that, and she knows he or she is gonna come in and probably earn that distinction, and get that extra money, but we're not offering that. You think she's even gonna look twice? Probably not.
She doesn't
I'm
have it
not.
already. She's gonna
Well,
get it.
Yeah, she does.
I think all the teachers want the best for their kids, and I think they all work hard.
Sure.
Right.
I don't-
Some
I don't-
are driven
questioning that.
financially though.
Yeah.
Some do have a
And we have
financial drive.
teachers that really do need the money, you know, they're looking at buying their kid a vehicle, used vehicle, and somebody that gets a distinction, well, there you go, that's cash on hand right there. And then over 5 years, or, you know, several of our teachers could make $100,000 extra. You know, that's down payment on a new home that some of them need, and that was their motivation. It wasn't so much as, I'll do better if I get more money. No, they're already up here, they're already doing everything they can, because that's who they are. But I think the financial motivation came from, what can this money do for my family, for my kids going to college, or, you know.
But it's not gonna be several teachers that get 100,000, it would be one.
One,
The
we
first
said one
year.
for 20,
The
yeah.
first year, and then the next year, another one could get it. The next year, another one, could be a different one.
It must be awfully hard to get, because I didn't see Anderson had anybody get the top one.
Then that teacher might have opted out, so.
Anderson was just in the media where they paid what, 5 or 6 teachers just a few months ago.
Yeah, it was in the paper that they
And that's
had.
another thing,
There's
teachers
two
have,
levels, they had, what they had, first 2 levels.
teachers have options of opting out, so let's say that we decide to go with this plan. If a teacher ends up getting a distinction, she could say, no, I don't want the distinction, I don't want the money, and no one's gonna force it on her.
Yeah.
So that would look like a blank spot, like nobody got nobody got the top one, but there was a recognized and a, whatever the other one is.
That's correct. If we were to move forward with this, it doesn't force the teachers. We still use their data. Their data is required, but like we mentioned in our last meeting, it's no new data. It's their evaluation that they get every year, and then it's their assessments that they do every year. So if they don't want the money because they don't like how it makes them feel competitive, they can all opt out. We may pass this program and everybody opt out, and we're not paying anybody, but we have the program.
But if we adopt it, does it go year by year? I mean, so if we do it a year or 2 years and then we start having problems, like you said,
So we opt out.
right, we can,
I think so. I think at any point, we can say that we're out. But those I don't know for sure if those payments would continue, or if we're opting out and then that's it.
Well, I would think they would continue if we're having to pay somebody that moves
They'll
in with that
continue for
distinction.
5 years.
right, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is
Correct.
another
That's true.
option that may happen if we say we're not doing it and somebody received the distinction that a neighboring district moves in, they're still receiving that pay from the state.
Correct.
So, what does that do for morale? I don't know the answer.
My opinion's not changed, I still don't agree with it, I still think it causes dissension and low morale, and I don't agree with it.
Any other questions for me? Don't think of anything else. Be right over there.
Well, I'll move to approve just to get it open for discussion and get a vote on it. It may die for a lack of second, but I'm gonna move to approve the teacher incentive allotment.
I'll second.
So now it's open for discussion, so
It's the same thing, I don't agree with it, I don't think it helps anything. They've done this for decades, it doesn't help scores, it doesn't end up helping anything. The scores don't improve.
You said in other programs that they've
I'm
done
talking
in the
about
past.
over the years, school, they've done this, Texas has done it, other states have done it. It doesn't help.
My thing
does it
is,
help our teachers though?
Some, 1% maybe, 1% of, not that many end up getting paid.
30%.
Which would be 26.
Of the state of Texas,
No,
No.
they've
well,
got to
Percent of
qualify,
our
you're not
teachers.
gonna necessarily just give it to 30.
Right, you got it.
So-
Right.
It'd be of our top, it would
It would
be.
be-
30,
it
'cause
would
it's of
be,
our-
Yes.
We're
So
comparing
we
with
have
ourselves.
26 eligible. It'd be at least 7
8,
teachers.
7 or 8.
Yes, sir.
You get a piece of the pie.
that's,
And two, it's tough. If
It
this
is.
vote was
I understand what you're saying,
overwhelmingly
'cause that's
one
been
way
my
or
whole-
the other, it'd be
hold up
easier
there.
to
It's not, I
decide.
don't think-
I'm like, Jake, how do you tell these
yeah, the ones that
13 that
want to go try for it.
try? You know,
And some years you know this too, some years you have classes that you can
Right.
get somewhere with the kids, and other years you don't.
Right.
So this year that you're gonna,
right,
you know,
yeah.
Could be luck of the
It-
draw.
it's not-
Some of our lowest classes have made the highest growth. It's not about how how high their score is, but how much growth they make. And some of our lowest kids make the biggest strides too that we've seen.
And that's
And here's
beginning
my-
of year to end of year,
Yes, sir.
so it's the same group.
But STAR will probably be from the end of the year to the end of the year, right?
Yes.
But here, I don't know, I just think that, that it's just not gonna be help. I still think it's gonna cause dissension. I still think it's going to cause it. I don't care if they think they want it. Right now, you still have half that don't want it, almost half that don't want to do it. I just think it will.
So half of the grading is on their review, correct?
Yes, they're
Their
evaluating.
evaluation.
Yes.
Has there ever been a time that after you sat down and talked to a teacher after their evaluation that you, rightfully changed it up or down?
Absolutely, because sometimes I'll put something in there, and then as I'm having a post-conference with her, and we're allowed to do that in our
Right.
training, I say,
No,
yeah,
it's
you
a
can
good
definitely
process.
change it if there's more information. And so I'll think one thing, and she'll say, oh, well, this is why this, and it's like, okay, great, let me go ahead and we'll rescore it in front of her. And then also the teachers have a right to ask for Mr. Fowler to do their evaluation as well. So if they didn't like their evaluation or something and they want to redo to kind of figure it out, then he could do it too. And then with TIA and how our plan is written, there's a big emphasis on fairness when it comes to the evaluations. And one of the ways that I make sure that I'm up to speed is instead of calibrating and retraining for my T-test every year, I do it throughout the year, sometimes once a month. And I can do it with Mr. Fowler or through Region 6, but it's a constant, ongoing development that I go through for their evaluation to make sure I'm staying on top of it.
So if I could ask a follow-up, I didn't know until you said that. So if they didn't like their evaluation or felt it, they could ask Mr. Fowler to do one that year?
For sure, yes.
In this situation?
Yes.
Would they use his? Would they average? Would they use yours?
They would pick which one. It's
I
up to them.
believe it's an average.
Oh,
I think it's an average.
Of the two evaluations, or is it an average of, okay.
I'm just trying to find
I thought
out,
it was-
so their T-test score that would be used for this would be an average of the two?
That's my understanding.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but
Right.
in other districts, districts I've been in, it's been an average.
It's hard to turn those ones away that are wanting it.
I have a pretty good feel that this is going to be stagnated tonight, so as far as the vote.
Well, with a motion and a second, we have to go through with it, right?
No, we can still take it.
Yeah.
And two, when are they, y'all submitted it to 6, right?
Mhm.
And when do we think we'll get that back? But we gotta approve it before we,
Before we can move forward, yeah. Which we'll get feedback in the next 2 weeks on things that we need to change in our plan or fix. And I think the final submission, I have my notes with me, I've got timelines running through my brain. I think the final submission comes in, I think August, maybe September, maybe next fall is whenever it's final, when they approve it.
So she doesn't have board approval tonight.
It's going to, I can see how, I can tell by the way people are talking how this one's going to end up. Well, any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Those opposed? Motion is tied at 3-3. Either it doesn't move forward for lack of pass, or we wait till next month and we reconsider it again when we have everybody here.
Or do tied motions fail?
Yeah, but you can reconsider.
Right.
That's what I'm saying, they can bring it back. Which makes me no difference either way. I can't tell those 13 people, no, I'm not going to give them an opportunity to go after more money. And that's my whole, I understand what you are saying, but I can't tell them, I'm not going to give them that opportunity. So, for now, I guess that would be would either reconsider or be brought back to the board, or it just dies, either way.
How do you write this up?
I don't know.
We don't read motion.
It'd be just 3-3. And,
Okay.
Well, it definitely send a message that you do not have total board buy-in. And that was one of the checklist things, that you have board buy-in. And you can vote and say you have majority vote, but that's still not total board buy-in.
and that's a recommendation by,
No, it's not, I'm just saying it's one of the checklist things when you're doing your plan, it's one of the checklists. You know, that you have
put out by
board
TA.
buy-in, you have this, you have that.
And TA put the program
You're not gonna
out.
have that.
So,
I
Well,
guess you
but
could
I
do
don't
it. Board voting.
Right. I don't know if it's TEA that looks at that part, or if it's Texas Tech that looks at that.
on the checklist.
I think TEA looks like they're the ones that give us the recommendations.
All right, well, we'll move on from that. We're not going anywhere there tonight. Well, I lost track. What am I on, 11?
11, yes, sir.
Consideration of annual instructional material allotment, antique certification for 2021-2022 school year.
So through instructional material allotment is how districts throughout the state purchase instructional material, textbooks. It's even moved into technology, I believe. Each year we have to do this, and the board and the superintendent have to certify that the district has met certain rules, which is what Ms. Harris had submitted here in this section for you. And Ms. Harris has certified to me that we have met that criteria, so just recommend the Board of Trustees approve the instructional material allotment antique certification for 21-22. So that's when this allotment would be made available for us to purchase materials for the 22-23 year.
So this is not actually us saying that the physical education, that's materials here, the lifetime fitness, wellness, lifetime recreation and outdoor, that it's not those materials, it's that we're accepting the rules for the allotment are in place.
Yes, sir. And she just added that information for you to know what was up for adoption
Right.
in that year.
So when that money comes in, and there will be another recommendation for which physical education, I'm assuming this is
Yes,
held.
we have to bring to the board any, we have to get the board's approval to spend any instructional materials allotment on instructional materials. So that, right now, you're just saying, yes, state, we certify that we meet these rules. They allot us the money, and then when we get ready to spend that on instructional materials, we're bringing that back to you for your approval.
That's what I thought.
I make a motion.
A second.
Okay, motion is second, it's open for discussion. Is there any further discussion? No discussion, those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 12, personnel, do we want to go to closed session?
Up to you guys.
Okay, we're going to go to closed session 551.074 under personnel at 7:23.
550, what is that?
551.074.
Recommend the board approve the contracts, both elementary and secondary, term and probationary as presented, and accept the resignations as presented.
One motion. I'll make the motion.
Tammy moves to accept the teacher contracts. Are we doing them, do we do them separate?
I don't know, that's what you
We
said.
can, I'd lumped them together. We can do it separate.
Yeah, let's do the contracts and resignations separate. So we're on the contracts, you're making a motion to approve the renewal of the contracts as presented.
I'll second.
A second by Allott. Any further discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. And then resignations, I'll move to accept the resignations as presented. A second, Mr. Cunningham. Any discussion? Those in favor, raise your hand. Motion carries 6-0. One more motion, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Second by Rita. 6-0. You don't get a chance on that.
Thank you, guys. I appreciate you.